Located on the 10th floor, 2 floors below the fire, was a direct line of communication from the operations chief to reduce communication error. The communications chief and the operations chief had a line of sight. Basically, the operations chief was sticking his head out the window of the 10th floor to be able to communicate with the operations chief at the base. Crews were staged here on the 10th floor to return and rest for cylinder swap, operating in 30-minute cycles to reduce firefighter fatigue. Conditions deteriorated in the staging area as smoke progressed and infiltrated the staging area, making it difficult for firefighters to recuperate and rest. So they had to break windows out in the staging area for ventilation. Large-scale operation due to location and staging. There was no elevator access in the building at the time of the fire, so all the equipment had to be hand carried to staging on the 10th floor, and it took over 9 companies and around 2 hours to transport supplies to from the logistics to the staging area. Command post was located 1/2 block south of the fire to reduce dangers from falling fragments and debris from the fire at the time. The incident commander was located on the street, and the battalion chief with staging stood in a broken window, like I said, with the operations chief on the 10th floor to provide a line of sight of communication with the command post. As you can see in the map provided, the base is located 2 blocks south of the fire, and the medical group located 1 block east of the fire. Firefighters attacking the fire utilized 30-minute air cylinders to ensure each firefighter wasn't going to be over fatigued with a 60-minute air cylinder. This also ensured breaks to lighten the load on the attack teams. Over 600 air cylinders were delivered to the staging area by hand, and this is what took over 2 hours and 9 companies to make this possible. Delivering 600 air tanks from the base of the building to the 10th floor just using stairs took quite some time. Helicopters were utilized to transport attack groups to and from the roof to provide secondary fire attack boundaries. Approximately 20 hand lines were used by 32 attack companies to battle the 5-floor blaze, originating on the 10th floor. Over 200 firefighters were involved within the first 5 minutes of response. This was a second alarm fire.
Hand lines were connected to standpipe risers and the initial attack begun. The building was served by a single zone combination standpipe system with 4 risers, 1 in each stairway. The standpipe risers provided a 2.5-inch outlet in each stairway at each floor and also supplied 1.5-inch hose cabinets in occupied areas of each floor. The 4 standpipes are supplied by 2 stationary fire pumps, 1 diesel and 1 electric, each rated at 750 gallons per minute at 600 pounds per square inch pressure. This standpipe system operated with a single vertical zone depending on the pressure reducing valves at each outlet to control the pressure. Main fire pumps were shut down. The only water pressure available for the first hose lines was static head in the risers. The crews reported poor water pressure from the first few minutes. These conditions were rapidly corrected when the combination of both building pumps and 3 fire department pumpers were placed in operation. 850,000 gallons of water was stored in a sub-basement reservoir. The building's 2 750 gallon per minute fire pumps drew from this water. It was estimated that a total flow of 4,000 gallons per minute was delivered by the stand pump risers. The total of effective fire flow provided by hose lines attacking the fire was approximately 2,400 gallons per minute. The attack lines included 1 3/4, 2 and 2.5-inch hand lines. No exterior streams or master stream appliances were used.
The first interstate bank fire was controlled and extinguished solely by interior suppression efforts. Attack crews, using 30-minute bottles to limit time on the fire floor and avoid overfatigue, climbed the stairwell to the fire floor, as elevators were not to be used as part of LA City policy. Fire attack consisted of the first 6 arriving companies, who used 2-inch attack lines connected to a standpipe. The attack was initiated from all 4 stairwells on the 12th floor in order to try to push the fire back from the core part of the building. Due to a lack of water pressure and rapid vertical fire spread, the fire spread rapidly to the 13th, 14th, and 15th floors. Crews applied the same tactics on all affected floors, pushing the fire back from the central core of each floor. The strategy used to discontinue the upward spread of the fire was to aggressively attack the fire on the 14th and 15th floors in an attempt to reduce the fire's intensity and limit exposure to the floors above. Crews set up preliminary hose lines on the 16th floor to combat possible upward spread. Although this strategy was successful, it was only thanks to the extreme efforts made by fire attack crews operating hand lines on heavily involved floors, with up to 4 floors burning below them. Approximately 20 hand lines were used by 32 attack companies on the 5 involved floors. This information was taken from the report made by the U.S. Fire Administration Technical Report Series and FEMA regarding the Interstate Bank building fire.